Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations, a podcast that teaches you how to create a clutter-free, functional and simply happy life. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser who supports families with practical steps to simplify their lives and create a more organised home. I'm passionate about supporting neurodivergent families and individuals like myself. Over this summer, I'm taking a break and sharing a top tip series featuring insights from our amazing guests in 2024. Christmas can sometimes bring out tricky dynamics with family and friends and sending our ego into survival mode and leading to those patterns of bad mood thinking. Today, I'm sharing a top tip from Matt O'Neill, author of Good Mood Revolution, podcast host and happiness expert. He shares ideas on how to develop conscious happiness and remove bad mood thought patterns to achieve lasting happiness. To listen to the full conversation, head to episode 149 or check out a recording on YouTube. Let's jump into this top tip from Matt at Good Mood Revolution.
We all have some of this wound that we need to heal ourselves. All of us do. And it sounds like you've done that work, and it's beautiful when we do heal it. The good news is that because we all have to deal with it, once we do heal it, we can then teach others. And now our pain becomes our purpose. The next, which is the second most destructive of those bad mood thought patterns, is guilt. And guilt, anytime I hear somebody that's really judgmental, because the opposite side of guilt is judgment. Guilt is just self-judgment. I did something wrong. I deserve punishment. I'm bad because of the things I've done. And so judgment, where they're wrong, they're bad, they're doing something wrong, they deserve punishment. That's just an outward projection of our own guilt. So when I hear a really judgmental person, I know that there's somebody that's beating themselves up twice as bad in their own mind. And guilt doesn't help us. I like to tell in my book that's coming out later this year, The Good Mood Revolution, I tell a story about a child that sees a burning hot stove and is just so curious. They put their hand on the stove. And of course, it blisters their fingers. They're screaming in pain. You wouldn't go over to your child that had just burned their fingers and then yell at them and shout them and tell them how awful they were and how bad they had done. You would go and you'd give them love and support and give them a hug. Do you think that child's going to go to the next hot stove and then put their hand on it?
Well, you'd hope not.
No. The consequence of burning your hand is so intense. We're all so intelligent. All humans are so intelligent. The consequence of burning our hand on that stove was enough to know not to do it again. We don't need the story that we deserve to be punished on top of the negative consequence. It's just a story that we tell ourselves that, and it comes from doing something wrong, and then our parents or our elders punishing us for it. And then we grow up and we become our own parent or elder. And when we do something wrong, because we were taught that we're supposed to get punished when we do something wrong, we punish ourselves. But it's not helpful. The worse we feel inside, the worse we do on the outside. What we really need is love, compassion, and understanding for ourselves, because then instead of judging you and telling you that you're wrong and you're bad, I give you love, compassion, and understanding. And that's how we actually heal people. So after guilt, the next emotion is hopelessness. And hopelessness is not out there like hurting other people, but it is the emotion where we can hurt ourselves. And hopelessness is just this feeling that life is so hard. It's so heavy that it's beyond hope. There's no use. There's nothing I can do. The only way out of hopelessness is help. You need somebody else to help you. You cannot get out of that emotion on your own. So I'm a huge advocate of psychiatrists and coaches and psychologists and people who are really trained to help you and can pull you up. And that's what you need in that emotion. The next emotion is sadness. And sadness is beautiful. It's beautiful and lovely. And but we're all going to experience it, and there's no way around it, because everything changes, and all the good things we don't want to change are going to change. Like nobody's making it out of here alive. All the people we love are going to die. It's like just a truth, the way it is. Our bodies will age. They won't work the way they used to work. So we can get sad about things changing, but things changing is actually what makes life so beautiful. Because if everything lasted forever, we just take it all for granted. So sadness can teach us to appreciate more what we have today. When we lose something we love, we can appreciate what we have even more. So it's one of my favorite bad mood emotions, but we don't want to stay stuck there. There's people that can live their life perpetually sad about things changing. I know people that way. You kind of want to take the lesson that I didn't want to lose that, but now I'm going to take the lesson and I'm going to appreciate what I still have even more. That's the way out of sadness. The next emotion is emotion of fear and anxiety. Again, we can live anxious and fearful. The mind's always like looking out for what can happen next and what can go wrong. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier when I said you don't want to use your thoughts to always be vigilant for what's going to go wrong, because what you'll do is you'll manifest it. Anything you put a lot of attention to, you attract more of. So if you're always putting attention to what's going to go wrong, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because then you're using the power of attraction to attract things that'll go wrong. And you're like, I knew I should be afraid of that. Here it is.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to live anxious or fearful. It's useful. We want to, when we have that emotion of fear, it's our consciousness saying, look at this thing that could go wrong. But then the way out of it is to take action to protect ourselves and then let it go. After fear, the next emotion is lust or desire. And again, powerful, it's very positive. Like I want something good. Also insatiable. So billionaires are a really good example of somebody that has been stuck in desire. Usually super unhappy people stuck in desire. It's never enough. You can never accomplish enough to feel good about yourself. I've been stuck in that emotion for sure, but it's good. It's a powerful emotion because it can help us like decide what we want, and then we want to decide what we want and then let it go and be in the now. The next is anger, and the last is pride. We all know what anger is like. Again, it can be powerful. It can be positive if we use anger to say, I don't like the way things are and I'm going to make a change. Anger can be really, really destructive when we think other people are to blame and we're going to be angry and vengeful about life and other people and how awful they are. That is where we're playing the role of a victim. And you'll never have happiness as a victim. You cannot. The two cannot coexist. So, I think the way out of anger is to understand that when we feel like a victim, we are really hurt and afraid, and then dealing with the main emotions of fear and emotional hurt and overcoming those misperceptions, and then getting back into, well, how do I want my life to look? And then being responsible for how we want it to look. And the last one, pride. Again, there's a healthy version of pride. This, I'm proud of myself and my accomplishments. There's also extremely unhealthy versions of pride, which is I'm better than you and I'm better than everyone. And then some people are better than me and I'm going to look down on you and I'm going to have arrogance. And you're not going to find somebody acting super prideful and feeling better than others that's also happy, because those two things cannot coexist.
I love these. The three that stand out to me for what I see with organizing is the shame, the guilt, and the fear are the three that probably stand out the most, that people, those emotions are the ones that they may be stuck with, and that's the ones that they want to sort of move through by decluttering their actual home. So their actual physical space is around those three emotions who have kept them stuck, but they're like, I want to move through now.
Yeah, and then now the positive emotions that I talk about in the second half of my book are having confidence and taking action and being responsible. So decluttering is such a beautiful act of taking your power and saying, I am going to be confident and I'm going to take powerful action to make things better in my life. And action is one of the ways we get out of bad moods. So yeah, I can see guilt, like, oh, I have this thing, I paid a lot of money for it, I better hold on to it. Or this person gave me this thing I'm never going to use, and so I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I'm going to hold on to it. Or shame, I'm unworthy of nice things, or I'm unworthy of a nice space, so I'm just going to have an awful cluttered space, but I don't deserve a clean one. Well, as soon as we just take action and declutter all of these things, we start to feel good about ourselves and worthy. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy again in a positive way. But fear could be another one of those things, like, maybe there's not going to be enough.
Yep.
So I need to hold on to this stuff that I have. And What if I need it one day? Well, you haven't used it in 2 years, but what if I need it one day? So when my wife and I moved in together, I'm somebody that does not like clutter. And I would get rid of so many things, just donate and donate and donate. And I donated these 2 dog cages that she had in her attic. And I stopped telling her what I was donating. I was just clearing, right? I'm just getting rid of stuff that, and then we get a puppy and she goes and looks in the attic and she says, "Where did the dog cages go?" And this is like 5 years later. And I said, "Oh, I donated those 5 years ago." And she said, "But we need them."
And it's that money of this is prime real estate we've been paying otherwise for those cages to live rent-free in our home for, we didn't actually need them yet. So
what we did? We just put the puppy in the bathroom.
Yeah.
We didn't even get another cage.
Yeah.
So she had that fearful thought, that hoarding thought that I can't believe you got rid of this thing that we were going to need 5 years later. And then it turned out we didn't even need it.
Yeah. It's that creativity that it actually helps foster by not having those things. I don't know, like even say a platter. It's like, do I really need this massive platter that I haven't used for ages? Or could we just make do with a casserole dish instead that could convert as both? But yeah, looking creatively around your house like you did with the puppy, it can just go in the bathroom instead.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's freeing to not have all these things. You feel so much lighter and so much more free to not have all of these things. I read this book early in my career, and it was about being organized at work. And one of his rules was that you don't keep paper. And I was keeping all kinds of notes, and I had stacks and stacks of notes. And he just said, if you write something down, that's fine. But then you have to get it off of your desk. It has to go somewhere. And so I would, maybe take a picture of it with my phone and then throw it out. But I've stuck with this.
Thank you so much for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. If you find yourself wasting precious time searching for misplaced items and wishing for a more organized life, then you need my 5-minute declutter ebook, the ultimate guide to quick and easy organizing solutions for a clutter-free and happy home. Forget about spending months KonMariing your house. These fun solutions are designed to give you immediate results in under 5 minutes. Head over to Simply Happy in the resource section and download your free copy and start seeing results in minutes. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging.